Hello. Great. You can hear me. Okay, let's share this. Hello. Yes, you can hear me. It's so good to know. Hello, I'm just here waiting for somebody to come online. But you see the recording is running, so I'll wait a little bit, okay, if you don't mind. It's a nice day here in Istanbul, where I'm today for the conference of, it's better called a workshop for agents and universities. So it was a great opportunity to network with people from so many places all over the world. I've met people from the Americas, from far away in Asia. Well, we didn't have Australians really this time, but we did have people from Africa. So they were agents and universities, although I was primarily to meet the universities. But I also had a chance to mingle with agents from other countries and see, from their experience what it is and how they approach and how they deal with universities and with students, right? Well, for LRN, it was a tremendous opportunity to promote the exam because English exam is one of the university application requirements almost everywhere. So it was a chance to introduce LRN to the universities that don't know about it, and to secure their confirmation that LRN is accepted, which was great. So we are going to make a list with universities, which is going to be growing every time, I approach a university, whether at the conference or an, workshop or anywhere else where we meet, the educators. So today that event has been over. We had a fantastic entertainment program in the evening. So please consider Istanbul and Turkish universities, the universities like from other countries. We had a very strong representatives from Canada. Well, their reputation is high anyway. The surprise was the two Georgian universities for me. They were really great, really modern education study programs in English. So it was fantastic. It was great to get to know the local people, like, because on a personal level you really get to see the local people, the way they describe their own place, the advantages and disadvantages, what is good and what is bad, and they compare. And it was a chance for me to appreciate what a global village we live in nowadays. I look forward to going to Zurich tomorrow, where we are going to meet more schools and see network with other educators in Europe, and then to Prague, where we meet more schools. So, and because I like traveling, for me this is also very nice. So it's 6 o'clock, and I welcome you to the presentation about the exam day. Well, the LRN, let's begin with with a small introduction. LRN exam is an examination based on the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, which is called CEFR, which presents the levels starting from A1, then moving on to A2, with B1 is the intermediate level, B2 is the upper intermediate level, and then the two levels of the advanced and proficiency, C1 and C2 correspondingly. So LRN examination also divides the levels of skills of English language into 6 categories. And another positive thing about LRN is that it is recognized by the Office of Qualifications of Great Britain. LRN, this is the reason why it is accepted for immigration authorities, and it's a valid proof everywhere else in the world that it's a valid examination that truthfully certifies about the level of skills and knowledge of its holder in English language proficiency, which level he has. So it is valuable when you apply for a job, when you apply for a university, when you want to certify and your level of English or see how you progress in your studies. The third positive thing about LRN is that it's considered as one module, which makes the 50% of the total score to be a pass, regardless of whether your score in listening or writing was a bit higher or lower. It doesn't matter, because the exam is considered as one module where parts are connected together and they're inseparable. Okay, so this webinar today is for the educators. It's for the schools that want to be our partners or our partners this time, and we are preparing for the spring sessions and summer sessions of the 20th of April, and then the 8th of June, and then the 22nd of June. So as you see on my screen, we're going to talk about firstly the communication with the candidates, and then about the paperwork that's has to be done by DQuals and by the school and by the candidates. And then we're going to talk about the actual exam day logistics. So let's move on. Let's talk firstly about the communication with the candidates. Okay, for that, LRN has prepared, always prepares basically a project plan, which is a detailed instruction of what happens when. As you can see, this is a list, but it has no dates. But in fact, the actual project plan has got also dates, which we have to follow very strictly. By we, I mean DQuals and the school. Okay, so the first thing is that the school prepares the final and complete list of candidates and sends it to LRN, or sends it to us. We check it and we send it to the LRN. The list of candidates, well, you can appreciate that it includes their full name in Latin characters, their date of birth, their passport number and date of issue to prove that it's a valid passport, a scan of a passport and other papers that I'm going to mention later. So the list of candidates is submitted to LRN, so based on which LRN issues a unique number for every candidate. Then, a week before the exam date, LRN issues the 5 speaking topics that are going to appear at the exam. As I say, well, you might not know, but you might know that throughout the year, the students, while they're preparing for any exam, they're covering certain topics corresponding to the level of their skills, like B2, B1, they have different topics. Hello, Marjan, and welcome. So I've been talking, so I've been recording a little bit over here. So during the year, the students study certain speaking topics which appear in their books, in their course books, or they're prepared additionally by the teachers, okay? So a week before the exam day, the students and the schools basically receive the short list of 5 topics that will appear at the speaking part of the test. So this gives your candidates a chance to prepare, to choose one of the 5 topics and prepare for it really well. So they do additional studies on the topics. For example, for the B1 or B2, they choose to talk about entertainment for teenagers, right? Or to talk about schools and ecology or stuff like this. So the topics will be there. So the candidate chooses one topic that he's going to talk about for 1 or 2 minutes, 1 minute for B1 and B2. Hello. And 2 minutes for the level C1 and C2, okay? And you discuss and you help your students if you need to, but please don't forget that your candidates have to consider also the other 4 topics in the list, because at the exam day they're going to be paired with another student who they don't know. They don't know that this person is going to be with them, and also the one that for sure has another topic different from his own. So because every candidate doesn't know who he's going to be paired with, so he doesn't know what the other candidate is going to talk about. And as you know, the speaking test requests interaction between the candidates. So for everybody to be able to talk about, to interact, you can't hear me. There is no sound. Look, I see that my sound is okay. Can you click somewhere? Let me see. Okay. Okay, so I have to continue. A week. Oh, okay, so where was I? So the students, this was number 2. The next thing that happens and is administered by DeQuals is the standardization of speaking assessors. This happens usually 1 or 2 weeks before the speaking test, and is done online or offline by one of our experts. What does this mean is when a test requires a lot of speaking assessors to speed up the process of the speaking test, to make it a bit faster. So we're recruiting regular teachers for the exam day, offering them an additional qualification of a speaking assessor. This test, this assessment, this seminar lasts about 1 or 2 days, depending, usually 2 days, or I can be sending a recording for some preliminary recorded webinar describing everything. And then we are having online live sessions with teachers who want to be speaking assessors. And we go through the process, we discuss, and we sort out all the questions. So this is the standardization of speaking assessors. The speaking assessors also find out what is how the speaking part is assessed, what to look for, and what is considered a very bad mistake or a not very bad mistake. Okay. Okay, sorry about this. Now, the next thing is that DQuals dispatches the exam papers to the exam sender. This is done prior to the exam date, provided, like we need to make sure that the exam papers arrive in time. So this can be, depending on the distance and the country, this can be 1 or 2 weeks in advance of the exam. So the papers arrive in sealed packs, and they're not open until the morning of the exam day. Also, the next thing, DQuals provides training of the invigilators. The invigilators are people who walk around the aisle or watch that the students are not cheating. Okay, so there is just we talk with we interview the teachers or people who work at the school, how to do this, how to behave, and what to do with the students, how to stop them from cheating, how to make sure they're not cheating, like to make sure that they leave their phones somewhere else, that they don't need to stand up and go to the toilet a lot, ask them, like to make them feel, not only to check that they're not cheating, but also to make sure that they are feeling comfortable, right? They know what to expect. So all the things that are needed to relieve, to lessen the stress of the candidates, okay? So, and then there is the examination day. About the logistics of the exam day, I'm going to talk a little later. Okay, so after this, what happens is the speaking exam usually takes place after the written test, but it's not even recommended. It's up to the school. We are in negotiation with LRN to allow the speaking part to be months in advance or months after this written test, because I believe it doesn't matter when it is completed. All right, so what we also do is that we pack the papers and we send them to LRN for checking. What we also do is we send the speaking recording of the speaking test also to the LRN for standardization, for assessment, to make sure that everything, so LRN makes sure that everything has been done according to the instructions and the best practices. What happens next is LRN experts mark the exam papers and release the results. This usually happens 2 or 3 weeks, and the preliminary results are published. We can send them to schools to make the students happy, hopefully. Also, and after this, if like another small thing is that we find out the mistakes in spelling. So sometimes students are not aware how important it is to write the name correctly. So we see students misspelling their names at the exam day, or examiners misspelling, the speaking examiners misspelling the name. So the final corrections to the names are made. And then DQuals receives the certificates, and consequently the schools receive the certificates. For this, we recommend to make a small ceremony with LRN experts probably attending the event. So if you invite us, we would be more than happy to attend and hand in the certificates to the successful candidates. Okay, so this is about the exam, what goes afterwards. So what are the candidates, what do the candidates have to do? Before the exam, they have to apply for the exam by providing full name, passport number in Latin, now so date of issue, and the passport for a scan, payment slip, English exam level they wish to sit, and contact details, email, and telephone number for communication. Okay. Once their candidates' names and details are submitted to LRN registers them in a special register, and the candidates are assigned a unique number. Did I misspell this word? Oh my God, I was in such a hurry. Sorry about this. Now, the next, also the candidates, upon submission, they receive a notification about the written test date and time, and the speaking test date. So about 10 days before, or maybe more, it depends on how fast the school submits the names and pays for the exam. So the students know when to appear, when to show up for the exam. And also, they also receive the exam manual with instructions. For example, students really need to know how long the exam lasts, how to behave in various situations, what to bring and what not to bring, what they can ask the invigilators and what not. They are warned about cheating, because cheating is not accepted. So once they're seen to be cheating, they're disqualified. So they need to know why they were disqualified, because cheating is not allowed. Okay. Also, such things as going out to the toilet, or in case they're on medication, or they have to take a pill at a certain hour, they need to warn the invigilators about this. So all this is in the instructions for them, to make sure the exam day runs smoothly without people asking why, what do you do, what do you go do there, because of the emotional tension and stress. We don't want to create an additional stress on the students, because it definitely influences their exam results. Okay, and what also they have to do is they have to show up for the exam at the place and time as stated in the note, okay, with their passport, definitely the one that they submitted, they have used in the registration, and basically with a pencil and eraser. That's all. No telephones are allowed in the classroom. Okay. All right. And after the exam, the students receive a letter confirming their exam results, which is going to be in about 2 or 3 weeks, depending on the volume of papers and the exam papers that we need to check. And they receive, and after a month or a month and a half, they receive a certificate that looks like this, which states their name, the level that they have attempted to pass, and their successful result, or whether it's pass if the student achieved 50%, or from 50 to 64. And the student receives merit instead of pass if they have achieved from 65 to 79. And they receive a distinction like this one if they succeeded from 80 and above. Okay. This is about the candidates. So let's move on to part number 2, which is about the paperwork. So now, paperwork is the biggest part of the paperwork is done or provided by us, by the company D equals. So what we owe to the school, we owe the application forms for candidates. So we have developed with application papers with letterheads. So for all the candidates to fill in, to state like what the information we have talked about, right? Sorry, I have to check. No, what is the problem? So hello, Halima, nice to see you. But Marjan, can I just say this? Marjan, don't worry. Sorry about my spelling. I'll send the recording. So DQuals, as I said, provides application forms for every candidate to write in, to fill in with their personal details, level they want to attempt, and so on. Also, we provide the Excel sheets for the school for easier listing of candidates into certain forms that we have already developed. The sheets are separated according to the level, so we have all the candidates for every separate level on a separate spreadsheet, which is easy to handle after that. Also, we provide contracts with candidates for schools and candidates between, but it is on demand depending on the payment terms. So if the school wants to doesn't want to handle the money issue, so the student will pay through PayPal or by invoice, issuing invoice to DQuals, or if the school wants to handle the money issues, we provide a draft contract between the student and the school, so that every candidate can pay according to this contract. Just a second, I need to see the chat again. Okay, it's okay, Marjan. Sorry about this. Okay, the next thing. So we also provide the written exam day instructions for candidates. We have developed instructions, what I've mentioned before, like how to behave, what can they ask about, what they cannot ask about, how to, what to do in different situations. Okay, so everything runs smoothly. We also provide the manual and training for the invigilators. Okay, we also provide the manual and training of the speaking assessors. I'm just writing some notes here. So it's about the timing of the candidates and about recording all the examination, the speaking exam, and about filling the exam forms for every candidate, filling in the information about their performance, okay? The one that is, that's assessing the candidates. Oh, thank you so much. So much, Halima. Thank you so much. So nice to know. Okay, let's move on. So after this, we also provide speaking assessment sheets. I'm going to talk about the speaking assessment sheets, especially for the speaking assessment assessors at one of my next webinars, because those of you who want to be the assessors or just want to know how to prepare your students best, because during these sessions for the assessors, I'm going to point out what the assessors are looking at, or what is considered a very good, a very good performance at the speaking part, or what the assessors just disregard in terms of mistakes, small, big mistakes, stuff like this. We're going to cover all this in a separate session. So DQuals also provides the answer sheet for the written test, where candidates transfer the answers on a separate answer sheet. Okay, and we also provide unofficial certificate with exam results. What I mean is, when the exam results are known and obvious, and it's just a matter of time until the certificates are printed and published and sent, I'm sure many candidates are, counting days when they receive the news, especially the good news. So to assist them and to make them happy, we issue the exam results and send them to schools or to candidates directly, which is done on demand, okay? And also when the candidates, if it's an unsuccessful attempt, we issue the explanation, like where the exam didn't go really well, what was wrong, okay? Now, and the final part is the exam day logistics. Okay, so let's go to the last part. University, you say, oh, Halima, thank you so much. Why don't you speak up? Let's talk in a little bit. Okay, I'm almost done here. Okay, so the exam day logistics. So now it's up to the school to organize. Firstly, the school organizes the classrooms for each level separately. So if your candidates or the candidates that you have registered through your center are of the 6 levels, or you've got 4 levels, you have to make sure you have 4 classrooms available for the exam day on Saturday, preferably, but not on necessarily separately. So this is the hardware. And then you also provide the candidates with information about where their designated seat is. This is usually done with the help of the information stand. So when they arrive with their passport and the pencil and the eraser, so they go to the information board and they find themselves in the lists of the levels. Like, I know I'm going to do level B1, so my name should be in the list B1, and I see which classroom it is and what is my seat number. Okay, so they go and they're very calm, they take their time. Also, while they arrive and they see the information desk, their papers are checked, their they're listed, like they showed up. Okay, so the school needs to have a person before the exam begins, somebody who is registering, like this person arrived and they signed the paper. Okay, which is a standard procedure really. Okay, also the school provides the exam invigilators, which can be just adults or teachers, but not necessarily. The ones who have received some small training prior to the exam day, or, as I said before, like they know how to prevent cheating, how to instruct students about cheating, that it's wrong, it's not tolerated, and they're going to be disqualified immediately. Okay, so many times it's up to the invigilator to be strict enough so the student is not disqualified, because once they feel the invigilator is not really serious, they will attempt to cheat if they have been thinking about it before. So it's up to the invigilators to make sure that every candidate is not disturbing his neighbor who is also stressed, right? So if the candidate needs to take his medication, he needs to go to the bathroom, he needs to drink some water or he will collapse, the invigilator needs to assist him silently, politely, and with with the air of calm and confidence. Okay, so everything feels it's very calm and Hakuna Matata. Okay. Also, we need an exam coordinator. This is a person who is going to be opening the sealed exam papers in the classrooms in front of the students. Necessary. It's absolutely must be done. Then they distribute the exam papers, and then they collect the exam papers after the exam day, and the written and the speaking exam. All the papers, everything that the students have used or written on at the exam day is collected back in the boxes and shipped to us to DCOs. Also, what else a school organizes is the pairs of candidates for the speaking test. Remember I said, a week before the exam, the students know which 5 topics are going to appear on the speaking exam test. So, and because there's no way to know which paper they have, which topic they have prepared, once they arrive at the written test, they register which question out of the 5 they've decided to talk about at the speaking test. So while the written exam goes for 3 hours or 3.5 hours for the advanced levels, the coordinator or as delegates this or does it herself or himself, matches the pairs of students. So I have 20 students for the B2 today, and they are taking different speaking topics of B2. So I'm going to combine those who took topic 1 with somebody who took topic 2, or different combinations. It doesn't matter. You need to make sure that all the candidates are of the same level. This is number 1. And secondly, that they they're not talking about the same thing. Okay, if you have an odd number of candidates, LRN instructs to have a trio at the exam. Okay, but never one-to-one. It's difficult for the examinee. Okay, so that's it. Can I see what you've been writing in the comments? Just a second. Right. So what else? The school also provides the speaking assessors with the necessary gadgets and instructions. What I mean, the gadgets is the timer and the speech recorder, not a video, but really like a speech recorder, which can be on the phone, which can be a special recorder, and a timer. A timer can be used, a telephone can be used, okay? But like imagine, so you make sure the screen doesn't go dark, so the screen needs to be set, so the examiner always sees what time it is, to avoid unnecessary movements on the desk in front of him while the students are talking in front of him. So he puts the timer in front of him and he checks the time. Again, the way to administer and conduct a speaking exam is going to be a separate session for speaking assessors. And then, and the timer, okay, and the recorder. All the recordings are collected by the coordinator and sent via email to us, okay? So, and the final thing is the coordinator dispatches the exam materials to DeQuals, okay? You pack them and you send them by courier to make sure they arrive, okay? Okay, so that's basically it. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will stop sharing my screen now to make sure that I can see whoever there is. So I'm going to unmute audio for Marjan. Marjan, can you hear me? I don't know. And Halima, good to see you. I have your video today. If you want, we can talk a little bit. Oh. Yeah. Oh, Marjan, you can hear me. Marjan, don't worry about it. I'm gonna have recorded. I'm gonna send the recorded sessions to everybody who's registered. Okay, so it doesn't matter. You see, the truth is that I choose the time which is convenient for me. Unfortunately, not for all of my participants. My participants have different time zones, so I'm sorry about this. Halima, good to see you.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
I like the webinar very much, Svetlana. The last time I was late because you didn't take in consideration the different winter and summertime with Moscow. Yes?
I think it's, isn't it like 6:30 now?
Beginning from March 1, we have summertime, 2 hours, not 3. In winter, we have 3 hours different. I know that exactly because I see the program from Moscow, they know.
Really?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I thought Moscow doesn't change the time. Moscow doesn't change the time.
No. With us, with outside Republic like Tashkent, we have different summertime and winter time.
Okay.
3 or 2 hours. Now 2 hours from Moscow.
Okay. Okay. I see.
You know that if maybe before every webinar to make very short summarizing like this. I use it to teach labor market and human resources in Uzbekistan.
Wow.
We begin that. We have surplus of very good educated people speaking English. The next one is as a speaking, they all speak general English. The third language, the third sentence is American University, also Webster, and Syracuse from New York, organizing campuses, branches in Tashkent,
Wow.
preparing MBA, post-graduation, tertiary education. Also, it will be not beginner level, or even it will be ASP, also connected to major of students. Yes?
Fantastic. Tell me if I can help you anyhow. I'll be more than happy to help you.
Maybe I organize a hosting of your webinar to my colleagues from TUIT, where this because I was in TESOL, you know, I was in TESOL, being in Atlanta, we must contribute with our report, being on the stage. But pity nobody voice from Uzbekistan. We divide our time like me, leading moderator, one moderator from TUIT. TUIT stands for Temil Uzbekistan IT University.
Okay.
One guy called Nelson from Texas. He was moderator in my group. We will say how to work together, how people from America understand us, and so on and so on. Your seminar are very good. Maybe you will make some summarizing. Who is eligible? How much that is cost? I will share this information. You're sending webinar. This recording is so good. You are very wonderful.
So much. Thank you so much. It means so much to me.
You said that you would like to organize some center here or so what?
Yes. I would love to have a center in Uzbekistan.
I have a question. You see, we are a customer to British Council. Every organization has its educational product. An educational product of English or Britain's council is so-called LTS, you know.
Okay, yes.
But if American university come, I remember the time 20 years before it was extra library rooms with TOEFL and GMAT.
Yes.
I think that the TOEFL and GMAT will come very immediately to Tashkent because at the end of March, Syracuse University visit and make contracts for teaching there.
Wow.
But teachers already, yes. Therefore, think about this. I will be like liaison between you and between teachers who will teach.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Lovely. I'm excited.
About me, I asked somebody in our, you know, BASIC, you know, yes? It is an organization for people in business things. I get 10 certificate with my basic education, my for business studies. I said, Germany needs urgently people who in their German will explain business things. I must work in Germany because my first language is German. Okay. And I graduated working in Mercedes as an insider. Therefore, people are different. You are making wonderful things. If you are interested, prepare some short summarizing. Maybe 5-6 sentences. I will tell my colleagues at university.
What about the summary about what?
Why are you doing that? All people know TESOL. All people know what is the difference between this LTS exam and TESOL. I think that LTS exam not taking consideration some cultural environment. Maybe some diagrams, some graphs, people do not understand. TOEFL was good, but GMAT is the best one. Who also is overcoming GMAT? It is prepared to some technical area, you know. Maybe
I know GMAT is horrible.
Yes, because companies coming, universities coming, people, they will get customers. I will also say, you know, the lady Svetlana, that's wonderful. She has recording, see that, host and demonstrate them. It will be after I will participate in online conference in Atlanta. It will be on 14 or...
It means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you so much, girls, for coming. I'm going to have another webinar next Wednesday. And I think I'm going to talk about the exam day exactly, like the speaking assessor, instructions, the way the invigilators should work. Okay, or if you wish any other topics, you're more than welcome.
Svetlana, your English is wonderful.
But I love English, Halima. I love English.
I studied English as a second language. And I
You're
studied
amazing.
blocks. Why not to teach English like this? Morpheme, word, some clues of words in context, word like this irritating us, word in sentences, and then some topic situate of all this to show how it's important to know this thing. Contamination, collocation, how is it work in some area? It is very interesting for me. Maybe like this, I don't know, because you know, we have, do you speak Russian? No.
Yes, of course. Here's my phone number for you to use.
I see.
Thank you
I
so
know
much.
I am digital competent. Fine. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Я за тебя, Светлана.
До свидания. Всего доброго.